Evaluation Headlines, our new series, where we will be speaking with heads of independent evaluations to see how they're adapting their evaluations to these times of crisis. We will be examining the changing roles of both evaluators and evaluations during these difficult and rather different times. International organizations warn of a deep global recession and that the outlook is uncertain. And there's an unprecedented demand from client countries for support, both financial and technical. In Evaluation Headlines today, we will see how independent evaluation departments are adapting their work plan so that they can better support their organizations respond effectively to the COVID-19 crisis. I'm very pleased to have with me today Alison Evans. She is the Director General of Independent Evaluation Group at the World Bank, and Marvin Taylor Dortman. He is the Director General of Independent Evaluation Department at the Asian Development Bank. Thank you so much both for joining us today. Alison, my first question to you is, how is IEG adapting to these different times? And is it very difficult in these time of crisis to kind of balance both the accountability and the learning aspects?
Thank you, Saleha. So this COVID-19 pandemic has created an urgent need for more and better data, both to protect public health, but also to mitigate and manage the wide-ranging socioeconomic implications of the crisis. And for independent evaluation here in the World Bank Group, this presents us with a challenge and an opportunity, because many of our evidence-gathering activities have up until now had relatively long timelines, as have the accountability processes to which we regularly contribute. So it's vital we find ways to shorten the timelines for what we do and how we do it, that we find data sources and methodologies that get us to the evidence more rapidly and more innovatively, and to shorten the feedback loops between our work, the World Bank Group's response, and also the oversight of the board. We're adjusting to this new reality by drawing up lessons and synthesizing evidence quickly in real time, and we're adjusting our work program to take account of the context and to ensure that the evaluation questions that we're asking reflect this new and challenging context, both now and the immediate future. In a crisis, I think more than ever, we need to view accountability not only in terms of providing a reckoning of results achieved. And of course, this is fundamental, but it will take a while. We also need to focus on how operations use and apply evidence and learning in real time to adapt to the need for scale and for speed. It is a moment of perfect synergy, I think, between accountability and learning.
Absolutely. Marvin, my question to you is somewhat similar. How do you see the role of evaluators and evaluations during these crisis times?
Thank you, Saleha. Excellent and very interesting question. 10 years ago, you would have not been asking that question to a regular evaluator. When we introduced real-time evaluation to assess the intervention of the World Bank Group at the time of the 2008 crisis. Today, it's common sense. All evaluators are talking about the role of evaluation in times of crisis, and rightly so. There are at least 4 areas in which evaluation can have an impact in times of crisis. First is in improving the quality of what we call the blueprints of the interventions, the design of the operation for the mobilization of these massive amounts of resources. The second area is in understanding the short-term immediate result, because these interventions are precisely designed to generate emergency results, immediate results. The third area is in understanding the overall results of these packages and derive lessons from the interventions of the institutions that can be shared with the international community and also within the institution for sure. And finally, the fourth area is in contributing to preparedness of the institution and of the international community to face this type of situation, because you can be sure that there would be another one.
Alison, earlier we spoke about the general direction that IEG is taking to adapt itself to these times of crisis. If you speak about the specifics, if you speak about the work plan, what are the changes that IEG is bringing about in its work plan to adapt to this time of crisis?
We're doing 4 different kinds of things. We're developing lessons notes from existing evidence on issues linked to the World Bank Group's response and the impact on partner countries. We're hugely fortunate in IEG to have a large stock of evaluation evidence that we can mine for lessons relevant to the current crisis. This includes what has worked in past health surveillance systems, in community contact tracing, to scaling up through cash transfer programs and trying to avoid the negative coping effects in crisis by households and firms. And we have lessons in these areas and we're bringing them forward to help inform the World Bank Group's response. Secondly, we're shifting our work programme to add 2 new early stage evaluations related to COVID-19. These will focus on the relevance and implementation effectiveness of the bank's work and will be very much happening as the response continues to unfold. Thirdly, we're adjusting ongoing evaluations to take account of the difficulties of working in country contexts right now. And we're using different remote evidence gathering techniques, trialing different data sources, building stronger local networks and partnerships. And we're seeing also in these evaluations whether there are relevant linkages to understanding the impacts of the crisis in real time and the nature of the bank's real-time response. Finally, we're sharing our monitoring and evaluation knowledge and expertise widely inside the bank and outside, and we're increasing our outreach on evaluation lessons and evidence to counterparts and the wider development community.
Marvin, what are the changes that IED is bringing about in its work plan to adapt to these different times?
The adaptation that is taking place in our department in IED is very much in line with what Alison just spoke about for the World Bank Group. And therefore, we created a special task force to improve the quality of the blueprints of intervention that ADB is deploying. So far, we have commented, provided inputs at the highest level of decision making in the institution for 26 interventions. Second, we're getting ready for the assessment that I spoke about a moment ago of the overall results of this set of interventions next year. And so we are creating a major repository of information that will help us for this work next year by documenting everything that is taking place now. Third, we have launched a set of synthesis notes that are intended to help management in also improving their design based on lessons learned of past operations, just in time knowledge for management. Fourth, we have also improved our digital platforms to be able to continue our communication with internal audience and external audience precisely. Finally, adapting our work program for next year so that our long-term relevance and impact is also there. We are not going to be living in a situation of crisis forever, and we must ensure that the work of the evaluation department is, as I said, impactful and relevant in the long term.
Yes, absolutely. Alison, my next question to you is, what changes do you anticipate this crisis will bring about as far as development M&E is concerned? If you can take us what you anticipate the changes will be both in the short and the long term.
In the near term, I think there is going to be, and we're already seeing it happening around us, a lot of resort to rapid tools and virtual tools for both monitoring and evaluation, and a lot more emphasis on continuous engagement to really understand how things are unfolding in real time. And we're going to be looking more and more to virtual field validation and verification of results. These are all things that we have, tools we have available to us now, but I think we're going to be applying them much more systematically in the context of monitoring and evaluation post-COVID. More lasting impacts. Well, I think the most important one of these is going to be ensuring that our partner countries have all the necessary capacity they need to monitor their own programs, no matter the funder or the implementer. So we really have to support that capacity. There's going to be more investment in data of all kinds and the capacity to analyze and use data quickly to support decision making. And a lot of emphasis, I think, again, around those themes of transparency, accountability, trust in M&E is going to be absolutely vital as we move forward. But I think inside large institutions like the World Bank Group, whereas operations have moved incredibly quickly in response to the crisis, what used to take months to set up are now happening in a matter of weeks. The results and learning systems around these operations tend to move more slowly. So I think a lasting change that we need is for results and learning systems to be a lot more agile, to support rapid problem solving by integrating lessons from active experience into operations. And as I said earlier, for shortening those feedback loops and ensuring that evaluation systems and tools are adapting accordingly. These are some of the changes that I think are inevitable, and we can already see many of them underway.
Absolutely. Marvin, any early lessons that you'd like to share with us?
I very much agree with what Alison had said about the importance of accountability and learning. And so therefore, for me, the first lesson of this entire experience is that accountability and learning are critical, irrespective of the circumstances, whether in normal times or crisis time. And we should be there as evaluators. The second lesson is the need to continue striving to maintain the relevance of our function. The third lesson related to this is the need for us to be able to adapt to the circumstances. We cannot be as rigid as we are normally as normal evaluators in normal times. Related to this is the fourth lesson that I would say, and is the need to adapt our methods to be able to be more responsive to these type of circumstances. And finally, the lesson of contributing, doing better in getting ready ourselves as evaluators and to help our institutions to get better, to face another crisis like this one, because you can't be certain that there will be another one down the road.
Alison, Marvin, thank you so much for taking time out to be with us today.
Thanks for the opportunity, and it was good talking to you today on Evaluation Headlines.
Thank you very much for inviting me. It's great to have had the opportunity to talk to Evaluation Headlines, and I look forward to another episode of this program.
We'll be back again with a new topic, with a new set of panelists. Till then, stay safe.